Hey everyone, welcome to the USA Crypto Group. We have a project called PegHub with us today for this amazing AMS session. PegHub is the simplest way to earn high yields on blue chip cryptocurrency. Like always, this is not a financial advice. There's no commitment to the team. With that, I'd like to welcome Aaron from PegHub. Very excited to have you guys here to talk about a very well-structured project. If you guys can start out giving us a quick introduction of yourself, your experience, as well as your core team.
Sure. I'll go first. My name is Aaron Shames. I'm the CEO and founder of PegHub and all the associated protocols. My background is, I've been a serial entrepreneur my whole life. I've always been running my own businesses, and, I've been really into financial instruments like, stocks and options and things of that nature. I've always been into programming, automation. So when I learned about what smart contracts could do within the crypto field, I just, fell in love right away. And, it's been the only thing I've been doing ever since. I've only been in the industry about 18 months now, maybe 20. So I'm fairly new compared to some people, but, I'm a really quick learner. And, our first big project was launched in November last year, which was Bomb Money, which was the first fork of Tomb Finance. And, today we're here to talk about PegHub, where we have the ambitious goal of being the #1 crypto staking platform globally within the next 2 to 3 years. And, I think our roadmap has all the items in place for us to achieve that. And, we have the right team to get that done as well. So I'll let the rest of my team introduce themselves.
Speaking of their team, my name is Mark Hu, and I'm a director of marketing for PegHub and all our protocols, and I've got over a decade of experience in digital marketing, working for a Fortune 500 company. And what I'm really looking forward to is bringing more of a traditional marketing structure to a crypto project. So when you look at a lot of the projects, especially in DeFi, because I've been in crypto for almost a decade as well. And a lot of the projects I come across, it's just the same stuff where, you're just shilling and, trying to pump a token without actually, indicating any value or having any type of a plan or roadmap for your project. So what we're trying to do is something completely different. And we're really trying to focus on, making everything simple. And that will allow us to target an entirely different demographic than what you're used to, like the crypto degens out there. Those folks have been already investing in our protocol because it's like, it's such a good investment. But what we're really looking for is also starting to penetrate some of the traditional finance markets. So that's going to be my job. And we're going to highlight some of the key things in our roadmap and our strategy document that's going to demonstrate how exactly we plan to do that. And I'll pass it over to Diamond.
Hey everyone, Diamond here. I'm a programmer by trade, but I'm very agile and I'm able to help out in all sorts of ways. But namely, I am the head of community management, ensuring that a positive community environment is maintained. Supporting and overseeing community moderators, ensuring that they're equipped with the knowledge and skills required to keep to accurately respond to everyone. Managing the live chats and support tickets that we receive, and collecting feedback from the community. I fell in love with crypto about a year ago. I've always been interested in banks and how they can take money and basically lend it out and make more money off of it. And crypto is a way that we can all of us be kind of a bank. And I don't know, I think that's really fascinating. And when I found Bomb Money, I fell in love, and I've been working with Aaron and Marku for a couple months now. And yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for that introduction, guys. Amazing. Looks like you guys have a very extensive background, in the crypto space. So with that said, you guys mentioned about simplicity. I sense that, man. I mean, your project, your UI to even the documentation within your white paper, very well structured. You know, it could be seem very complex, but the way you guys put everything out there, lay everything out, very simple, very organized. So great job on that. Why PegHub? What were the major factors that inspire you guys to build this concept?
All right, I'll take the lead on this one. So we started off with Bomb Money, which is, as I mentioned, the first fork of Tomb Finance. So Tomb Finance was one of the early DeFi projects that I had gotten into. And, the first couple of times I saw it, I said, this can't be right. Like, these returns are just too high. It's got to be, a shit coin, or it's got to be something that's where the coins are just trending towards zero. That's the only way the APRs can be as high as they are. But after I kept seeing them over and over again, I just said, I got to do some research on this and see what this is all about. And, I really fell in love with Tomb Finance back then. This was, before I launched Bomb Money. So it's probably, October of last year or so. And, I did really well in Tomb Finance, and I just couldn't figure out why nobody had forked Tomb Finance and, put that, what I saw as a winning combination, right? There had already been a lot of algo coins that had failed prior to Tomb Finance, but they seemed to get the formula right. So I was like, okay, let's take this, put it on a bigger chain. Let's peg to something that's perhaps more desirable to a wide user base. So, Bomb was pegged to BTCB, or Bitcoin basically. And that's how we got started in this whole thing. PegHub, the reason that PegHub came about is, I guess, for two reasons. The main one is that our underlying protocols, which currently the two protocols that are offering the farms that we have on PegHub, which I'll get into in a second, BitBomb and CZ Pegs are our two underlying protocols that kind of provide the farms that we can offer on PegHub. Those underlying protocols are really complex. If you're not familiar with Tomb Finance or any of these seniorage protocols, it can be overwhelming when you visit those sites and you see all this information and you see boardrooms and share prices. And, there's just way too much information there for the average investor who just wants to earn high yields on their crypto. So PegHub is the gateway to all of those great farms that we offer, which again, I'll talk more about that later, what's so special about our farms. But PegHub is the easy to use, easy to understand way to get into those farms without seeing all that unnecessary information that, to be honest, 99% of investors don't need to involve themselves with. The second thing is, so all of our protocols have like a dev allocation, which is, the funds that go towards the developers, for the work, and I'm the main dev. So I was the one that was receiving those developer allocations. So I had the idea to, let's launch a PegHub token. The inspiration for this token came from Year in Finance and also from the Beefy token on BSC, like the Beefy Finance token. They're both very limited supply tokens with big buybacks that they do themselves. So I said, that's great tokenomics, right? Like, it pretty much guarantees for the most part that, the price is going to be up and to the right because we're constantly buying back tokens with all of the revenue. So when I say all of the revenue, that's all of the revenue that used to be allocated to developers. So to me, is now going 100% towards buying back the PegHub token on the open market. And those tokens that get bought back, they get used for rewards for people that have staked their PegHub tokens. So anyone that believes in what we're doing, our long-term vision, it's a no-brainer. Just pick up the PegHub token, stake it, and set it and forget it. We feel very confident that this token is going to be, in the 5 digits, to be honest, probably by the end of the year, with everything that we got going on from now until then. And here's as you can see on my screen, the price is only 370 right now. So this is basically the governance token. We just had a vote for which chain we're going to launch on next. It was a tight race between Polygon and Avalanche, but Avalanche won out. So, PegHub tokens get to vote on these things and decide where our ecosystem is expanding to next. In addition to that, they get to hold a token that, any PegHub token holder, their goals are directly aligned with mine, right? Because me being the primary developer, everything that I do is geared towards increasing buybacks because that benefits me. I'm the biggest holder of the token. And it benefits everybody else that's holding PegHub tokens. So, owning this token means that we got our goals directly aligned. So I think it's a pretty neat thing to offer people.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Aaron. Like you mentioned, I mean, you guys, one thing I love about your UI is that you laid out the APY, not just the the APY yearly, but also the daily and the monthly, which I don't see that often. So which really makes it clear for everyone to understand what APY is, or how much they would be earning. But before we get into all those ecosystem and things like that, could you give us a quick breakdown what APR is and the differences between the APR and APY, because it's something that we'll be talking about a lot within this project, and I want the community to understand what they are.
Yeah, I'd be really happy to. Great question. So APR is your annual return. That is, for example, you stake something and you get a certain APR. That is, assuming that the APR stays consistent throughout the entire time you're staked, that APR is what you will receive as your yield, as your reward throughout that period. APY is now taking compounds into consideration. So all of our farms that we have in our app, they're all compounding every 2 hours. So every single time it compounds, your position size is growing. So the next time it compounds, your compound is being compounded on a bigger amount than it was the 2 hours previous. So APY is telling you what you're going to earn in a year, with factoring compounds in, which is the best way to look at it, because of course, if you're auto compounding, you'd want to see what is the true figure of what you're going to be earning with those compounds factored in.
Correct. So let's say, for example, so APR is not compounded interest. So an example of that is, let's say you put 10,000 in with an APR annual percent rate, right? At the 10%, you get 1,000 back at the end of the year, because there's no compound. Now, what APY does is that it compounds the interest. So basically, you are reinvesting the money that you earn or acquire, which what Aaron says there. What's beautiful about this is that they're doing it every 2 hours. So the potential to earn, on your initial capital is huge with the APY.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you look at my screen now, I'm not sure if that's too small. Actually, let me zoom in a bit. So I'll just take this one for example. You can see the APY is 151%, but if you hover over the little info thing, it shows you that the Vault APR, so the actual farm itself that's powering this, is at a 92% APR. And then we have a little explainer text below just to explain kind of what I just explained to everybody here. Just that the APY is the annual rate taking compounds into consideration, which of course, if you're in the vault, you're getting those compounds, so you should be taking them into consideration.
Yeah, looking at the UI, how you guys laid the structure out is beautiful. You see the APY, you see the total value locked, which is the TVL, the daily and the monthly. I love it.
Yeah, and you see your totals up top too. So you can see, what you're earning every day, what you're earning every month. So that's pretty cool too.
That's really cool, actually. And I also noticed on top, you were able to purchase cryptocurrency through a credit card as well.
Yeah, so that's one of the steps that we're taking to make this as easy as possible for brand new users. So we have a lot of improvements that are really just only a couple days away. They're ease of use improvements and UI improvements. So, for example, when you click purchase crypto, the default it's going to give you is to buy BNB, which is perfectly fine. But the thing is that at this moment, to enter, for example, the Polkadot vault or farm, you need DOT tokens. So at this moment, we don't have the Zap functionality here. So in the next couple of days, the smart contract's already built and tested. We just got to get the front end work done, which will take a couple of days. But we'll allow people to enter any of these with BNB, with BUSD, with any of the common assets on BSC. So it's just going to make it that much easier to jump into any of our farms. Or like you mentioned with the purchase crypto, the default option there is BNB. So that's, people should probably take that, especially if it's a new wallet, because they're going to need money for gas. So anybody that takes BNB, they're going to be able to use that BNB to enter whichever, vault appeals to them the most.
Beautiful. Yeah, so just to have a better understanding of what you guys mean by blue chip. So if you guys look at the UI right now, you guys have the DOT, which is, Polkadot, you have Atom, you have ADA, Cardano, and you have BNB. Of course, you guys don't know that. So these are top projects, right? These are top projects pretty much based off the market cap. So that's what it means by blue chip cryptocurrency. And to figure out a way how for you guys to earn amazing APY, which pretty much a return on investment. Now, to put that to perspective, if you look at the regular stock market, even in United States, we use the SP 500, right, indication for the directions of the market in economy. But the return on that is 10%. So think about that. So that's why cryptocurrency is amazing. And if you look at the return on investment for you guys here, 74% on the Bitcoin, you got DOT at 121%.
I mean, look at BUSD. For people that don't even want exposure to crypto assets, you could take a stable coin and get 129% APY. So, we really do have something for everyone.
That's amazing. And it's so simple. I love how the simplicity of your platform.
Yeah. And I'll just add that, it's the crazy thing about crypto is like what you're saying, like in the stock market, you get your 10% on your US dollar, which is really good. Like if you got 10% in the stock market, most people are going to consider that a massive success. But when you take crypto, you have to realize that you're actually increasing your amount of tokens. So if you're in the Bitcoin farm and like Bitcoin's, we just suffered quite a bear market, the entire crypto world for the past while, as I'm sure everybody here is aware. So let's say you're looking at, you get Bitcoin at 24K right now. Okay. So in addition to over the year, you're making the 100% APY, and, most analysts are predicting Bitcoin in the next year or two to be 100,000. So you're 4xing your Bitcoin value, plus you've earned 100% more of tokens. So right there, you're at 400% increase. Like that's the crazy part about crypto.
Yeah, and just to add to that, it's 100% true what Marco just said. And, I expect all of these assets, I mean, obviously the exception being BUSD, because that's just a stable coin, but, I really love exposure to all of these assets here. And, the fact that you can, double your holdings or more than double your holdings over the course of a year and get exposure, 100% exposure to the asset price appreciation. Like this is just, it's almost like a no brainer, right? And we'll get into how we're able to offer such a high yield on pure asset exposure, because it's very similar to single staking, which, a lot of the exchanges offer, but typically they only give you, single digit returns or maybe as high as 15 or 20% in rare situations. But ours is very similar to single staking, but with the high returns. So kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And I love that you guys, decided to deal with the blue chip cryptos first. I'm not sure if you guys will expand that later to a more higher risk project. But if you guys looking at the blue chips or the tokens right now, these are very well established projects and they're not going anywhere. And for you to earn, I mean, just like the monthly, if you look at the monthly, let's say ADA, Cardano, 7.97%. Now, if you compare that to the regular stock market at 10%, I mean, you earn that the same thing within a month. It's amazing.
And then also with, considering we're probably coming out of the bear market now, to get into some of these altcoins that are huge projects, like you mentioned, I mean, so I'm expecting Bitcoin to do about a 10x off the low. So I'll guess that it's going to go to about 170,000. The altcoins could go 25 times off their low, right? Like such as, Polkadot or Cosmos or Cardano, BNB is a bit bigger, so it might be closer to 10x or 15x. But I mean, to 10x your asset value and double or more than double your position at the same time, it's like, I'm honestly expecting 100x on every position that you see here, except for BUSD, obviously. But yeah, I'm expecting over the next 12 to 18 months, I would not be surprised at all if they do an average of 100x or maybe more, with the asset price increase plus my position constantly growing through the compounding.
Exactly. This is the time you guys want to get in. This is it, because we're pretty much at the bottom, right? If you believe that cryptocurrency will continue to rise from here on, then this is pretty low. Right now it's a good time. Awesome. Amazing UI. Very simple. Everything is well structured and organized. All right, Aaron and team, I'll let you guys take away from now? Because, within your ecosystem is very complex, but at the same time is very easy at the same time. But there's so many moving parts that I'd like you guys to take a lead to how you guys want to convey it to the community.
All right. So I'm not sure how much we should get into our underlying protocols. What is your typical, do you have really advanced DeFi users that are typically in the audience, or should we keep it to the PegHub stuff?
I would say we have a mixture of everything.
Okay. So I'll talk about the other protocols briefly. Actually, I guess, it kind of leads into that, because if I start with, how the farms work. So let me get into that first. So for those familiar with Tomb Finance, they will already get this, but, essentially what our other protocols are that provide these farms for PegHub users, they're algorithmic coins that are peg coins. So essentially when you're, I'll just use Polkadot as an example. When you're jumping into the Polkadot farm, what that's doing is you're jumping into a liquidity pair that is half Polkadot and half of our own pegged token, which is called BitDot. We've kind of, made that a little, not hidden, but just, we don't want to confuse people here. So we've been, conservative with what we show here exactly. But essentially you're getting half DOT and half a token that's pegged to DOT. So when DOT goes up, that peg token, because it's paired with DOT, it moves up the exact same percentage. So this is the closest that you can get to 100% asset exposure without single staking, but you're getting the advantage of having that high return that you would get with liquidity mining. So that's how we're able to offer something that's very similar to single staking, but with the high yields. Let me head over to one of our, I'll show you guys both of them, but this is one of our seniority protocols. So you can see, we have CZBNB that is pegged to BNB. These two we don't actually have on PegHub at the moment because they're kind of specialized pegs. I'll get into that a little bit later, but here's the BUSD one. So CZBUSD and BUSD. It's again a BUSD peg token. So, you get 100, well, I guess the exposure to BUSD doesn't really matter since it just stays at $1, but let's go over to BitBomb. That's our second one. And we're about to launch another one on Avalanche in probably about 2 weeks. And we're launching 4 more before the end of the year on alternate chains. So it's going to be really exciting, and everything's going to be available right through the PegHub app. So here's our other one. So again, DOT, that's the example I keep using. You got BitDot and you got DOT. That's the pair you'd be getting into. BitDot follows the price of DOT because they're paired together. So, but for any advanced DeFi users, there's some really advanced strategies you could use. This is basically a Tomb Finance fork, but we've made some adjustments. We have 4 peg tokens instead of 1. I don't want to go into too much detail on this because it's probably a little bit too complicated for the majority of the people. But, the way that we've kind of designed things is that we want to get people to look at PegHub, jump into our great farms. That's the best thing that we have to offer. And if you want to learn more, we have all the documentation available. We're getting videos produced constantly to provide information on, all the different aspects of the ecosystem. And actually, one more thing I want to touch on. So when we first launched Bomb Money, we only had the single peg token to BTC. So what we created was this site, bombbtc.com. And this is where we actually offer single staking from BTC mainnet. So in our ambitious long-term goal of being the #1 crypto staking platform globally in a couple of years, we're going to be expanding this service to cover all of those blue chips that you just saw on the PegHub app. So all of these tokens are native tokens on their own chain, with the exception of BUSD and obviously PegHub being our own token. So we're going to be accepting, Polkadot deposits and offering out really high yields, but those will be directly from, the Polkadot mainnet without even having to come to BSC. So, and we're going to do this differently than, obviously everybody's aware of some of the problems that Celsius has had, major problems there. And a lot of those problems came because it's a centralized service and there's no transparency. Nobody could see, if I deposit $100,000, where's my money going? Where is it? Is it actually doing what it's supposed to be doing? So we're going to actually implement this whole thing on our own blockchain. So everything is 100% verifiable. Anybody in the world will be able to see a complete history of every single transaction. Users will be able to publicly verify that any funds they deposit are either in their wallet or they're already working for them in some kind of position, such as these farms. So, we feel that that's the differentiator that's going to allow us to, become the biggest crypto staking platform globally in the next couple of years. It's a lot of development work, but it's really just expanding on what we've already have and what we've already done. So we have the experience, and we just need to kind of build out that platform and adjust it to not be centralized, but be based on our own blockchain. So really exciting stuff.
Yeah, I will encourage everyone to go take a look. If there's any part that you do not understand here during this presentation, go look at their documentations. Very well structured and very well explained on every single detail.
Yeah, and one of the main things about us is we're extremely transparent. I've been doxxed right from day one. Our COO, who unfortunately couldn't make it here because he's in the UK, so it's really late there, but he's also fully doxxed. We are just 100% transparent because we have nothing to hide, right? I know some teams, they don't want to dox themselves, but I feel that if everything that we're doing is in the best interest of our community, our user base, our investors, even with crypto having the worst quarter that it's had in all of history of crypto, nobody ever threatened me or, was mad at me. I mean, it's something that's outside of our control. And we did everything in our power to allow our users to be, generating as much yield as possible during those times. So, we're always working hard. We're always, putting our investors first. And, it's something that's pretty unique in the industry and something that I really wanted to mention.
To add to a bit of that, if anyone has any questions afterwards, if we have any questions, you can ask them now. We'll try to answer. Well, not necessarily right now, but if afterwards you want to learn more, come join us in our Telegram or our Discords. We have a team that's available pretty much all the time, which we can help answer questions.
Yeah, and we will drop your Telegram link towards the end of the AMA session as well. But I think, like you mentioned, I think the transparency aspect of it is very important. And like you say, within especially the BSC space, you don't see a lot of docs team, right? And so it's kind of nice to see that you guys are fully doxed and there's nothing to hide. Man, very ambitious. I love the fact that you want to dominate the space as far as, yield farming goes. I love that.
And I'm more confident than ever. Like the team that I've been really lucky with some of the guys that I've picked up on the team, including the two guys that are with me right now, super smart guys, really hardworking. Like I said, our COO, Rob, he couldn't make it here, but another great guy. I mean, we've really built an all-star team. So there's not a doubt in my mind that we will be able to execute on our plan. We do have that laid out actually in quite good detail on our roadmap. And even in further detail on our detailed strategy guide. So highly recommend you guys to read through this. This was, our COO, Rob, put this together, and it's really thorough. There he is right there. But yeah, great info here. So for anybody that wants to check that out, just simply click on roadmap, and there's a nice button right here to get to that, or you could just check out our roadmap as well.
And just to add, like I would put this document against some of the top crypto projects, not just on BSC, but any project out there. This is one of the most comprehensive strategy decks I've seen for even traditional companies, not just in the crypto space. But when you compare this to some of the junk you see on most crypto projects, this is just so far above and beyond what you're expecting, and it really shows the dedication and the vision that the team has, and the ability that we actually will, we will hit that goal of being that top staking platform in the entire world.
Yeah, as I was reading through your documentation, I was like, man, this is probably one of the best documentations that I ever put together. Every single detail is laid out, and I love the fact that you guys also laid out the different, the risk tolerance and strategies, and very well put together. I would say this is the best, or you call white paper documentation I've ever read. So yeah, I mean, it reflects the the commitment for you guys, but also the deep level of understanding or knowledge what your team is trying to do as well.
I really appreciate all those kind words. And, like one of the big things is, when Bomb Money first launched, which was my first major crypto project, it just exploded out of the gate. Being the first Tomb Finance fork, we hit 40 million TVL within 2 weeks. I was scrambling to build a team. I didn't have all the right guys working with me immediately, just because I was trying to do so much myself, all at once. But, now that things have calmed down, we had the bear market, now I've had time to find all the right individuals to work with me. And, I've never been more bullish about this. And, just having guys coming from the traditional finance world and just from traditional companies, they do things really proper, right? Like it's Rob, he's always saying like, oh, I'm sorry to be the guy bugging you about this, but we got to make sure that this follows regulations and, all these different small things that we hadn't thought of in the past. And, just the detail that he puts into some of these documents, and man, it just makes me insanely bullish, just what the team is doing without, even without me having to be involved in it, which, it's like a dream come true having this team with me.
Yeah, I encourage everyone to come read it. What's great about the well organized and focus on every single detail is that you may not get it the first time, but it allows you to read over and over again. And I'm telling you what, they did not miss on any single part. Usually when I read through a white paper, I'm like, okay, there's something missing here. But man, I mean, like you guys literally. So Rob, man, congrats. I mean, great job, because some of the things, because within your ecosystem, it's pretty, when you're talking about peg and, a lot of the average investor may not understand because it's pegged to, one by one or, different ratio. And so it's a lot of complexity within that. And some people don't really get it. But it allows you, but it's so detailed that you guys will understand it if you take the time and read it carefully.
Exactly. Because, in the past, we've always had our community say, when marketing, but it's like when we pour all kinds of money into marketing for our older sites, like the actual seniorage protocols themselves, they don't convert visitors into investors because it's too complicated. They don't know what to do when they arrive at the site. So PegHub addresses all of that. It puts the best thing that we have to offer, which is those blue chip crypto staking options. It puts that right front and center. It makes it super easy to get involved. And for the people that want to say like, hey, this is really great how I'm earning this much, I want to learn more. I want to get more involved. Well, we have those underlying protocols that are full blown seniorage protocols, with 4 algo coin pegs. So, we kind of want to set things up so that it's easy to jump in, but for those that want to learn more, we have everything that they need to get that knowledge to be able to participate in the actual protocols themselves if they so wish to do so.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah. Sorry, and just very quickly, I'm just going to summarize, the way I look at the whole PegHub ecosystem, and Aaron's kind of shown the different levels of this. You've got your advanced crypto traders that really understand the protocols, and they're going to go right into our BitBomb. And those folks, they're taking on a lot more risk because, they kind of, I don't want to get into it, but they have to understand the boardrooms and buying share tokens and all that. So if you're an advanced thing, you can get a lot more rewards than the 100% APY you're seeing, but you're also taking on more risk, right? So that's your advanced strategy. And then the whole focus of PegHub is getting those mid-level folks where you like Bitcoin, you like Cardano, for example. Get to PegHub and you just stake those tokens on there, right? And you're going to get high APYs without needing to even understand what's happening in the peg system, the boardrooms, all that. You don't need to know that. You're just staking in the farms. And then you've got the ultra simple investor who just understands that we are going to be the largest staking platform in the world. And the amount of revenue that's going to be coming in from that is just like incomprehensible. Like the amount of buybacks that are going to be happening. So if you want to get a piece of that, all you do is buy the PegHub token, and that's the absolute simplest way to get involved here. You buy the PegHub token, stake that, and you're getting your share of all the revenue from all the protocols, including all the ones that we're going to be launching on soon, like Avalanche. Down the road, we're going to be on Ethereum, Polygon. So That's just how I look at it. You've got your 3 levels, and wherever you feel comfortable, there's an opportunity for you.
Let me just add a little bit to that. Everything that Mark, you said there was very true. But PegHub it's really a great token for anyone. For the simple, like the more basic users, it's a really easy way to get exposure to everything that we're doing. I just want to show you guys, because we might have already hit it. The buyback. Yeah, actually we did. So you guys are the first to see this. We've actually just crossed that milestone of 200 tokens bought back. So this is only with 2 protocols, and our automation for buybacks has only been running for about a month, I believe. So we've bought back 200 tokens with just 2 protocols during the bear market, right? So if you do the math on that, that's pretty heavy buybacks for a token that only has 10,000 units total, and 3,500 of them are locked investing contracts that are being released very slowly. So really you got, somewhere around 6,500, 7,000 tokens in circulation, 200 bought back, and we're about to launch 4 more protocols over the between now and the end of the year. So, I hate to give figures and estimates, but this is what I'm so confident on. I don't mind to do it. Like, I don't see any way that PegHub is not a 5-digit price by the end of the year. There's just so much revenue that's going to be coming in for buybacks that it doesn't even really matter if people buy the token, it'll hit 10,000 just with buybacks, right? So it's really an incredible opportunity for any investor of any skill set.
Now, Aaron, I just want to clarify something. When you say buyback, does that mean buyback and burn?
No, so these 200.35 tokens that were bought back, those are actually delivered as the staking rewards right here, right? So you can see the APY is 17%. So all of those tokens that are bought back on the open market, obviously that pushes the price up. And then the people that are staking their PegHub tokens, they're the ones that receive those tokens that were bought back. So basically we're benefiting the ones that anyone that jumps in and just deposits their PegHub tokens, they're going to be the long-term winners, right? Like, I think my PegHub count has jumped like by 10 or almost 10 in the last day and a half. Right? Like, obviously I have a lot of them. I'm the main developer. I gave up my revenue to create the PegHub token and, basically shared my revenue with everyone that holds PegHub. So I do have a big holding in them, but all those buyback tokens are going right to stakers, proportionate to how much you have staked. So it's incredible.
That makes sense. Yeah, thanks for that clarification. So so whatever you stake in, when the buyback, it distribute the tokens proportionally to your back in a way.
Exactly. Yeah, we thought about the burn thing, but when you only have 10,000 tokens in total, I don't think we want to be taking tokens away. Like, we're going to be growing so large over the next couple of years that, we need every one of those 10,000 tokens. I honestly think that even 100,000 is going to be very achievable within the next year to 2 years on the PegHub token. It's just in the tokenomics, right? Like, we can't mint anymore. There's only ever going to be 10,000. The revenue that we're going to generate across all of our protocols is going to make some of the other buybacks that other protocols are doing look very Mickey Mouse compared to us, right? It's, this is one of our lower days of buybacks, but, considering that PegHub is relatively new, to have 715 is quite good. Like, I think yesterday we were up to like almost 4,000 in buybacks yesterday. So, it's quite a lot of buybacks that, again, it's benefiting the people that have their PegHub token staked. They're the ones that are going to reap the benefits there.
Yeah, with the 10,000, the total supply is very small, very small. And I do see that right now, currently, the TVL is at 3.5 there?
Yeah. So that TVL is across all of our vaults here. But you can see that the TVL of the PegHub token itself is 2.51 million.
See, awesome. All right. Let's go on to the next part of your ecosystem, because you have a couple more, right?
Well, I kind of already showed them briefly. So, the main revenue that feeds into the PegHub token is coming from our 2 seniorage protocols. So every day, 10 bit shares are feeding into that revenue sharing, as well as CZ pegs. These shares are a little bit low right now, but they should be jumping up in the very near future because we've, everything's becoming more healthy here now that we're coming out of the bear market. So, 10 CZ shares at the moment. It's not doing a ton of buybacks, but, these were as high as 25,000 at one point. And I feel like, by early next year, they could easily be a couple thousand each in terms of the shares. But again, for the average investor, shares are very risky. They're very volatile assets. So I'd recommend learning a lot about how these protocols work and asking questions and that sort of thing before just aping into shares. But yeah, I mean, anyone that wants to actually get involved in the seniorage protocols, there's some interesting strategies that you can deploy and, a lot of ways that you can earn. But I definitely suggest everyone at first would just jump into, any of our blue chip, vaults that we have in our PegHub app and, start earning on your blue chips right away. And then, take your time to learn the ecosystem so that you don't do something that you're going to regret later, because the share tokens, like I said, they can be really volatile. So, sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down. And, we hate when our investors are, not net positive. So, we really want to have them to have that education to know what they're getting involved in prior to buying share tokens. So, it's something where anything that you see on our PegHub app, we strongly stand behind and can say this is a very solid investment, just really based on what you want your asset exposure to. Or, I mean, if you don't want asset exposure to anything in crypto, we got BUSD. So.
Yeah, what's beautiful about the platform is it's pretty much tailored to beginner to mid-level to advanced, right? So once you get to the advanced level, there's different ways of different strategies that you can capitalize on it and make an additional income, but at the same time taking on higher risk. But yeah, I mean, before the AMA began, I told Mike, one of our core members here, I'm going to start using your platform here, just a simple APY, just to get exposure for the, top coins, blue chip cryptocurrency. So, Definitely. I mean, that's beautiful.
Yep. And I will show one more thing for the more advanced users. So we do have a full vaults page. So actually, before I even get into that, I want to say that security is, I also said earlier that transparency is like number one for us, but security is right up there as well. So all of our code has been everything's been audited except, PegHub is so new that we're still working out the audit. We want to get a CertiK audit on PegHub just to be able to put that nice stamp that everybody recognizes. So we're still working at that. So PegHub is still being audited, although I can just say right now the token is 100% safe code. I can say that factually just because I'm the developer and I know that we didn't do anything custom in it. We're using very standard and the most popular libraries in all of crypto. So I can say with 100% certainty that the actual PegHub token is bulletproof, but that's what we're looking to get audited by CertiK just to be able to stamp that logo on here. But for the more advanced users, we do have access to all of these easy to use vaults on our actual vaults page, but with a couple more options. So you can see here, so I mentioned the share tokens earlier, like the CZ shares and BitBomb also has share tokens. So I'm a big believer in these farms because they pay out quite well. Again, there's a lot more risk involved, so I'd recommend learning a lot more about this before you jump into them. But so for example, we have the BitShare BTCB farm. That's paying 1,000 APY. And actually, this is a good demonstration of APY versus APR. So the higher the APR, the more difference it's going to make with compounds. So you can see the APR on this is 238%, but that makes the APY over 1,000% because those compounds, every time it compounds, it hits so much harder that the next compound hits even that much harder, right? So it's, that's what makes the APY extremely high when you have a high APR. So, the BitShare farm and vault is great for those after they, do their due diligence and learn all about it. Same with CZ Share. I'm really heavy in this one myself. Same thing. It's paying out great. And another great example of, the APY being much higher than the APR. The APY will always be higher than APR, but when you have something that's lower paying, so or something low, well, we've discontinued these, so that's why they're paying so low. But you can see the APR on this and the APY is not much different. That's because it's not that high of a paying vault, so you don't gain as much from compounding. It's still beneficial, of course, but just not to the same extreme. But yeah, vaults.peghub.com for the more advanced users. We have a few more options here that we didn't consider blue chips to be on our main PegHub app. So yeah, we really have something for everyone. And, we also really like community feedback. So, any way that we can improve anything that we're doing or any suggestions, we all take them in, we take them in and we fully discuss across our team. And, we're definitely willing to implement anything that makes sense. Right. So we love feedback.
Awesome, brother. Thanks for simplifying the presentation because, I reached out to you because I wouldn't know where to start, how to present your project because there's so many moving parts. But, if you look at the underlying protocol, for most users, you just want to buy the PegHub and stake, get that high APY. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, if you want to retire in 2 years, just grab a couple PegHubs and stake them and come back in 2 years and you'll be looking good. Probably even less time than that, but this is a no-brainer here. Like the amount of revenue that we're going to be feeding into this is absolutely unbelievable. So, I think that after we launch the 4 protocols by the end of this year, daily buybacks could easily be in the $40,000 to $80,000 range per day, which is, like 100x what we're doing right now. So, this will get beyond 10,000. Even if we have people selling it constantly, it'll still get above 10,000 just with that kind of buyback pressure.
Wow, that's an amazing number.
Yeah, actually, we have the white paper around PegHub. I'd highly recommend everyone to read. This is kind of outlines the tokenomics of PegHub. The breakdown of the 10,000 tokens. Some details about the pre-sale that we had. That's obviously already passed now, but yeah, it just talks about, what you can do with your PegHub token in terms of governance, developer allocations, all the different things that are going to feed into the revenue share that is used to buy tokens on the open market. Yeah, highly recommend you guys read this. Very bullish.
Awesome.
So I found
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say that. So I just found that on the homepage for anybody that's interested. If you just click either PHUB at the top or learn more about PHUB, you'll come right down here to our PHUB section and then it's right in the documents there.
Posting it in the chat right now.
Thank you very much.
All right. Actually, go ahead, Diamond. Sorry.
Sorry, we keep talking at the same time. While I'm on this part of the site, though, I should say that for anyone that does want to delve into some of the other things that we're up to, our other well, I guess we include PegHub here, but some of our other protocols are, right here on our website if you want to explore them and, read the docs and learn how they all work. So, and yeah, like I said, by the end of the year, we'll have 4 more here. So instead of 4, there's going to be 8. And the 4 new protocols are going to be very similar to BitBomb and CZ Pegs. They're going to be like seniorage peg token protocols that are going to be on 4 different chains.
And you said Avalanche will be the next blockchain that the community voted on, correct?
Yep, definitely. And actually, let me just show you that while we're talking about it. So we had a governance vote, our second governance vote actually with the PegHub token. PegHub moves beyond BSC, vote on next chain. So you can see these were the options. I strongly believe these will be the next 4 that we launch on. We were just kind of trying to determine the order that we launch, and we let our PegHub holders decide that. I don't participate in votes because I have too many PegHubs, so it's not fair if I vote. So I just let the community decide. So, it looked like a lot of people wanted Polygon, but we had someone that had quite a few PegHub jump in and vote Avalanche. So that's what won out the vote. So very likely Polygon will be the next one we launch on, but these will be the next 4 that we'll all launch this year.
And on top of that, you said there will be 4 more to be added into the ecosystem at the end of the year as well.
Yeah, so the 4 that are going to be added are going to be 4 protocols on these 4 chains that you see right here. So Avalanche is the first one, which is going to be within the next 2 weeks, I would say. Probably the website's up within the next week. Don't quote me on that approximate timelines, but we're really looking to get this going as soon as possible. Right now, we're just figuring out exactly which 4 peg tokens on Avalanche are going to be the most attractive to not only Avalanche users, but just, investors in general, both crypto investors and traditional investors, right? So we're still figuring that out, and we might even have a governance vote. Like you can see here that our first governance vote was actually figuring out the final peg choice for BitBomb. And I do apologize, I spelled Cardano wrong here, so don't mind that. But we already picked our first 3 peg tokens, and we said, hey, let's let our PegHub holders decide what our 4th should be. And we had a great turnout for this vote. Obviously, Cardano won by quite a lot, but this is what we want to see, right? We want to see big turnouts for our votes, and we're going to start proposing more and more governance votes, just because we want our community to really decide what things we do. So,
looking at the roadmap there, Aaron, I do see that part of the bigger picture is you guys want to get to the lending protocol, and as well as single staking for the blue chips as well.
Yeah, so I touched on that briefly earlier. So the blue chip single staking would be an expansion of this. We won't use the same name because this is very specific to Bitcoin, bombbtc.com. And also this is a centralized service, how we offer it right now. We are going to switch that because people are very hesitant to stake their crypto with centralized services. If anybody was staking with Celsius, for one, I'm very sorry for what might have happened with your position there, but you don't have control of the crypto. As soon as you stake it there, it's no longer your crypto. So we're going to address that by having everything on a public blockchain, right? It's going to be our own blockchain, right? But it's going to be just like every other blockchain where there's an explorer. You can see everything that's going on. It's all publicly visible to anybody in the world. So there's not that we want to mess around with people's funds, but everything's fully transparent, right? So it's like we can't, even if we wanted to. People can verify, if they deposit 2 Bitcoin, they'll see 2 Bitcoin sitting there in their account. If they create a position with those 2 Bitcoin, they'll see that position there, right? So it assures the security and safety of their staking position. So to give the ease of use of a centralized solution, but verifiable publicly with a public blockchain and giving access to our really high paying farms, this is going to drive us to be the #1 crypto staking platform globally. And I strongly believe it. It's something that I've always wanted to do, but now that I've put this team together, I know it's something that we can do now.
Love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, you guys are very ambitious, and if you actually zoom out and look at what you guys are, the moving parts you guys are doing, you guys are strategically putting things together, and like you say, with the aim of being #1 staking platform or yielding platform. Very ambitious, but very well organized and very structured thus far. So that is actually, I'm not sure why people would not believe you, thus far looking at the project. So yeah, I mean, awesome. Is there anything to speak on, Aaron?
I just want to say that, I would encourage people to do their due diligence. Like I've said numerous times, we have nothing to hide. So, ask us all the toughest questions. We love the tough questions. They're our favorite. Look into everything that you'd want to look into. And we got a great community as well as a great team. So if you have any questions that maybe you can't find the answer to in our docs, feel free to jump into our Telegram, our Discord, hit us up on Twitter. We've got, great community and team that's ready to answer your questions.
Awesome. So with that say, we're going to go ahead and have Mike going on the voice, and he's going to take a few questions from the community. Like Aaron said, we're going to drop the link. Make sure you guys go over to their community, be part of the community, and ask any questions that you cannot find in the documentations. But I can assure you that everything is pretty much there. So, all right, Mike, take it away, brother.
All right, guys. Thank you, Seattle. Thank you, Aaron, as well. Great presentation tonight. Very well articulated. I appreciate it. We're going to take a couple of questions here as text from the community. Actually, you know what? Before I get into the text questions, if anybody would like to ask anything on voice, please feel free to unmute yourself and do so. If not, I'll jump into these text. Go ahead, brother.
All right. Thank you, Mike, for the opportunity. I like the concept, and just a quick question. You mentioned that you want to dominate the space. Once we reach the mainstream, which every goal on the roadmap, multi-chain expansion, and so on, do you consider and also have planned to launch your own mainnet?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we've had that item on our Bomb Money. So Bomb Money was our very first protocol. That's been on our roadmap for Bomb Money pretty much right since the beginning to launch the Bomb chain. So, I mean, we don't want to launch a chain if there's no value for the users. So that's something that we had to figure out first. Like what is the unique aspect of our chain? What is going to drive people to be on our chain? And I think, having a BTC denominated native currency is pretty cool, but I didn't think that was quite enough to be worthy of launching our own chain. But now that we have had this kind of revelation that, hey, we can provide single staking from all of these other networks, but we don't want to be like a centralized solution like Celsius, or I'm not even familiar with some of the other ones because I don't really do staking with centralized services. But if we can offer that ease of use, and we can offer high returns, but we can do it on our own blockchain, which is what you were just asking. That's exactly how we're going to do it, right? So we're going to launch our own blockchain that is purpose built to basically support our service. Does that make sense, or do you want me to explain that differently?
It's all good. Thank you so much.
Very welcome.
Mike, can I ask a question?
Absolutely. You're loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay. Nice presentation, guys. You say the total supply is limited and there is constant buybacks here. So I also want to ask, are there any utilities to support this project? Because I guess this project is going to be a long-term project. So are there any other utilities to support this project on the long run?
Well, I mean, essentially what we've done is we've taken every single way that we could possibly, I mean, I was going to say the word guarantee, but I shouldn't say that, to have the highest chance possible of this token appreciating in value. So what are some of those things? Okay, well, we're never minting any more tokens. There's no mint function. We did it when the token was first created, it did an initial mint of 10,000 units, and it's impossible to mint anymore. So very limited supply token. Our protocols have very high revenue, especially once we launch a few more protocols on fresh chains that we've never ventured into before. The buybacks are going to be tremendous considering the low token supply that we have. Excuse me, I forgot what your core question was there. Can you repeat it? My mistake.
I was just asking about the other utilities, man.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Sorry. Yeah, so I mean, the utility really is strictly in, getting the revenue. Essentially, you have a lot of tokens out there that they don't have any external revenue source. Our token has, at the moment, numerous revenue sources that are external to itself, and there's going to be 4 more big revenue sources by the end of the year. And I mean, I guess you could use the fact that you can stake this and reap the rewards of the buybacks. And not only that, you can have your say in all of our governance votes to decide, stuff like what chain we're going on next or which peg tokens we should use. That's all the utility that we really have planned for PegHub. And we think that's, plenty, considering that this is just it's a token where you buy it, you hold it, and it's your retirement fund. Like it's programmed in the tokenomics and the buybacks. All of our buybacks are through automation, right? So we have automation happening numerous times a day that is, selling certain assets from the underlying protocols, fueling those funds from those sales into our automated buyback contracts, which are buying PHUB and sending the PHUB that they buy into our reward contract. And this is all automated. Nobody on our team has to do anything for it to happen. So, we feel that that's, certainly in terms of revenue streams, it's higher than any other token I've ever seen. So we feel like that's, all the utility that it needs, really.
Yeah, it's kind of convincing, man, I guess. But the way you explain it, I think those utilities you just mentioned is kind of enough. but it's kind of surprising. Everyone or almost every dev on the crypto space creates a token as a form of investment, that is to gain money. And you said the dev fee is allocated to buybacks, which acts as reward for the holders. So are you trying to tell me that all the team has no gain in this project? Nothing to say about staying awake while others are asleep and having an AME with this group, all the sleepless nights and the constant planning, nothing about the team?
Well, so I mean, keep in mind, so our protocols that fuel the buybacks, they typically have two different how do I call this? Let me rephrase that. There's two ways that essentially they have dev rewards and then they have protocol allocations, right? So the protocol allocations are things that we use for like paying for marketing budgets, paying our staff, paying any expenses we have, all kinds of things like that. The dev rewards were basically my salary prior, right? So I've switched that to say, hey, I don't want the dev rewards. I'm going to launch the PegHub token, and any holder of the PegHub token is going to share the revenue with me. And I mean, I don't know if you saw, but on the app, like I have a large number of PegHub tokens, right? There's only about 7,000 in circulation right now, and I have 2,800 staked, right? Which makes sense because I used to get 100% of the revenue. Now I'm getting a third of the revenue or less, right? But anybody's free to buy the PegHub token and share in that revenue with me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Oh, Mike, pardon, can I ask one more question, please?
Go ahead, man.
Okay, so am I allowed to stake a token outside your project? And what rewards do I get for staking that token? Will it be on the token I stake, or will it be on the native token, that's PegHub token?
Okay, so if I understand the question correctly, so to get involved in the PegHub vault here, first let me say that the main attraction to the PegHub token, as much as it does have a return associated with it, like 17.5 right now, typically that's a little bit higher. It changes day to day based on the buybacks in the last day. The main reason you're holding PegHub is because the price is going to go through the roof. The main reason to hold it is not really because of the APY. It's more so for the value appreciation. This token is separate from all of the farms that we offer, right? So if you have Bitcoin or you'd like Bitcoin, you can stake your Bitcoin here, earn a great yield on it, and have that 100% exposure to Bitcoin. Same thing goes for every other, token that you see here. So these are all somewhat different from PegHub in that, these are obviously major cryptos that a lot of people really love these cryptos, all of them, some of them, or maybe just one of them. But we've got that option available so that if you want to maintain that exposure to that crypto, you can do that with the 100% exposure and extremely high yields.
Okay, I'm clear. Thank Mike for the opportunity. Nice presentation, guys.
Thanks so much, man. Thanks for the questions.
No problem.
Absolutely. Appreciate the question there, Austin. Anybody else on voice would like to ask a question before I get into a couple of community questions? All right. First community question here, Aaron, is coming from Audit. Is how do you justify your target price of PegHub to be around between 10K and 100K if your bit share is around 160, or bit bomb rather, and your CZ peg is around $8?
Easy. We just came out of the bear market, so obviously DeFi gets hit harder than everything else. Bitcoin itself, and a lot of these major tokens took huge hits. DeFi took an even harder hit, right? So obviously some of these protocols are not as healthy as they're going to be in the coming weeks. So, we anticipate CZ shares to be a couple $100. We anticipate bit shares to be probably even higher than that. But, we have launched these protocols in the past. We're launching 4 fresh ones, moving forward on 4 chains that we haven't been on before with our unique approach with the 4 different peg tokens. And, CZ pegs, when it launched, and these other 4 launches are going to be very similar to the CZ Pegs launch. That CZ share token was hovering in the 20,000 range, between 10 and 20,000 for a good week or more, right? Before the market started crumbling, then the whole Luna thing happened. So, a lot of negative things happened that kind of put that high share price to a halt. But, I definitely expect a very high share price on all 4 of our new protocols. And I expect our share prices of our 2 existing protocols to go much higher than they are right now. And, just to show you, I think I've already showed, but we've bought back 200 tokens already. That is not a small number. And this price is actually, I don't know who's been selling because they're crazy because we're about to launch 4 more protocols, but this has been in the 500 to 700 range. So, the fact that we bought back 200 tokens at a higher price point than what it's at right now, it shows you the power of our buybacks. And that's just with the 2 protocols. So if you just do the math on, having higher price share tokens, having 6 major protocols feeding it instead of 2, and I actually didn't even mention yet, but when tokens are over peg, we take 5% of every minted token so a token over peg, every 8 hours, we mint new tokens to bring the price down closer to peg. 5% of those minted tokens are going directly to PegHub. So that's another massive revenue stream for PegHub. So I really don't see any way possible this doesn't get to 10,000. It's not just a prediction. Like I don't see how it doesn't happen.
Absolutely. And I personally love the only 10,000 total circulating supply there, as we've seen too many flooded things in the space of the quintillionth, if I said that right, or massive amount of token that it's just not right. And then they want to start off with a 50% burn right out of the gate, which it's meaningless really in most people's eyes. So yeah, I love it. Next community question.
One thing I want to add. I just want to add that 3,000 of the tokens are stuck in vesting contracts still. So really the circulating supply is closer to like 7,000. So after 12 months, after 12 months, they'll all be released. But yeah, for now, they're locked up.
That's good. For 1 year, and your buyback there for 200. That's like you said, considerable amount on only a 10,000 supply. So amazing.
Yep.
Next question from the community is, as you said on your roadmap, you aim to be the largest and safest staking platform, but as time passes, there'll be regulations implemented by the SEC that could cause worry to the staking platforms as relating to taxations of the stake pools and promise of returns. How do you plan to go ahead of the SEC and secure users on your staking platform?
That is an excellent question, and one that we've already basically been working at. So Rob, who's unfortunately not with us, he's taking the charge on this. He's the guy that has 15 years of traditional finance experience with one of the largest banks in the UK. He's got a senior position there, and he's coming on board full-time in September, but he's working with us a lot of hours every day still until that time comes. But he's in active communications with some different organizations that specialize in where should we incorporate to get around these sorts of things. And on top of that, our staking platform is going to be 100% decentralized. We're not going to be a centralized solution where someone could shut down our servers or close our AWS account and all of a sudden everything's offline. No, this is going to be on the blockchain. Not any blockchain. It's going to be on our own blockchain, which will have, validators all over the world, and, people will earn for validating and, things of that nature. But it's going to be, just like every other secure blockchain out there. So it's something that's next to impossible to regulate, especially once we incorporate in one of those countries that, is basically immune to regulation. Or I'm not the expert on this. If this was earlier in the day, Rob would have been here and given you guys a great answer for that. But I'm 100% confident. I've seen his conversations that, we'll be incorporated somewhere where that'll be a non-issue.
Perfect. Appreciate that answer there.
And just to add to that, if you do look at our strategy doc, that is a significant thing that we have called out as one of the threats and things that we are working towards. So we are aware that regulation's coming for all of crypto, and that, as Aaron said, Rob is already on it. But great question.
Absolutely. I appreciate the answer there, Aaron and Marku. We're going to grab one more question here from the community before I kick it back to Seattle. I don't want to keep you guys too long here. Next question is, how will you guys deal with the possible devaluation and loss of the project hype? Do you have something in mind when the day comes to keep the investors pushed on your project?
Sorry, could you repeat the very beginning of that question?
Absolutely. I'll say it right over.
Yeah.
How will you deal with the possible devaluation and loss of project hype? Do you have something in mind when that day comes to keep the investors pushed against your project?
I mean, I think that we have such a great plan in place that, I don't anticipate hype dying. I mean, I think people always want to earn money. I think in the bull market, people want to go long crypto, and what's better than, holding a crypto and having its price go up 10x than having that same crypto, having the price go up 10x, but also doubling, tripling 5 times in your bag at the same time. Right. So I'm not really concerned with the hype dying. We have Marku. I don't know if he's going to want to add anything to this answer, but he's in charge, ensuring that, we always have things going on in terms of awareness, and I'll let him talk to this.
Yeah. And one thing that, like I mentioned right when I was introing myself, that, and a lot of the crypto projects are literally built on hype, and that's it. And that's why, this is such a differentiator, that we've got such a solid roadmap, such a solid strategy, and the ease of use that we're going to have with PegHub, that's going to be a massive differentiator where hype doesn't matter, because we can target marketing dollars towards demographics that other crypto projects can't. Because if you're targeting somebody that, is used to just logging into a banking app and doing their banking there, they have no idea how to use a DeFi wallet. We don't care if they know how to use a DeFi wallet or not. It's going to be so simple that they don't actually need to. So we're always going to have entire demographics that other crypto projects aren't able to get into. And so, lack of hype doesn't concern us whatsoever in that sense.
Great answer. Thanks for
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that answer there, guys. And that's actually it. You guys have, pretty much what I could see, a self-sustaining project that will just keep on moving forward, which my personal favorite is always the short supply, as we talked about earlier, those giant supplies. It makes it more attractive in these days to see those better numbers as opposed to that you own, 10 million tokens and the value is so short. But yeah, that's all the questions I got from the community. Now, if there's anything I miss, be sure, guys, to head on over to the PegHub Telegram, ask your questions. I'm sure the guys here will be more than happy to answer them. I'm going to kick it back to Seattle. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Thanks to the team. Again, I really appreciate you guys coming here to the USA Crypto Group and present your project. Personally, man, I love it. I love the project. You guys did very well articulating yourself in a way that, is best for the community to understand. So thanks for that. If you guys do not have a closing statement for us, we're going to go ahead and do the prize giveaway. And we will also drop a link to your Telegram room and say Great AMA USA Crypto Group to raise awareness to your room. Is that something that you want us to do there, Aaron?
Yes, please. And, we will give a closing statement here. I just want to thank everyone in your group for coming and listening to what we had to say. And, we hope that we were clear in everything that we presented. And, if we weren't, or if there's any questions still, as mentioned many times earlier, we'd love to have you guys in our community. We're really friendly and, we answer all questions. So please stop by. As mentioned, the Telegram link will be posted shortly. So hope to see a bunch of you guys over there, and, let's engage and see how we can make everybody the most money possible.
Very well said. Thanks, Aaron. All right. So, at this point, you guys can go ahead and take off if you like, if you guys can stay, and Mike's going to do the drawing.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys from PegHub there, Aaron and Marku, and the rest of the team there, Diamond. I've seen you answered a couple of questions there in the community. Appreciate you, brother. With that being said, great AMA. We do have $25 to give away to one random attendee tonight, as well as best question, which I'm actually pretty valiant on which I know I'm going to pick here. It was a really good question, as well as, like Seattle said, I'm going to pick $25, which Johnny in the main chat now is saying how you guys can win an additional $25 by heading over to the PegHub Telegram and saying great AMA at USA Crypto Group, and I'll be picking another random winner over there in about 10 minutes. Without further ado, let's grab our winner off the wheel. Guinea Malloy? Guinea. Congratulations, won yourself $25. That's it for the wheel tonight, guys. I'll be over shortly to pick the other winner, as well as shift through these questions. Again, I just want to appreciate and say thank you over to the PegHub team coming in tonight. Great presentation, very well articulated. As well as give a thank you over to Seattle. Appreciate you hosting as always, brother.
All right. Thanks, guys. You guys have a good night.
Yeah, take care, everyone. Thanks for having us again.
Thanks, everyone.
See you guys.
All right. Thanks.